All right, brothers and sisters, I decided to do something a little bit different today. Usually I go and do a Shabbat lesson on the Shabbat, but I decided because of the complexity of the things that's going on, I want to make sure that everyone has, the knowledge to arm themselves and to show you exactly how quickly we are, I wouldn't even say approaching the end, we are submerged in it. Okay. At this point, it's just a matter of time for the people of the world to understand that they're submerged. All right. So, uh, with that being said, we went over the scarcity of food when plenty comes to naught. I'm going to begin the lack of mammon today. Okay. Um, and of course, going to give you the juice for the scriptures when the well of prosperity goes dry. All right. But like I said, so many things is going on. And I want you to think of the Titanic. Remember the Titanic where, you know, um, everyone was saying it was unsinkable, right? It couldn't be sunken. And with that being said, it finally was sunken, and then it it hit the people when half of the boat was in the water and half of it was in the air, and it was going down simply, right? This is how the world is right now. Okay. Now you see on this dollar bill photo here, it says, "In God we trust." But what God is that? That's the question. I'm going to show you today part of how the world, and how I should say Satan and the powers that he's chosen will use or have used the healthcare system, as you can see here to your left between the videos, the healthcare system and the money symbol. As you can see here, I've given you two pictures to show you that the origination of the dollar sign came was from two poles in a serpent in the form of an S, proving the Bible correct. Money is of the devil. Okay, so when they say, "In God we trust," what God are they talking about? But I want to share with you some things. I know I titled this for those on the live lesson, "Nothing Will Be the Same." And I know a lot of times I usually give like the hard hitting scriptures, but I want to start once again with the horse's mouths. Okay. As you can see, this is all meetings from 2022. This is this year, this month, the month of May to be exact. This is it. Don't be fooled by the things that's occurring. Don't be distracted by the things that's occurring. Brothers and sisters, I'm telling you without a shadow of a doubt, focus on you, focus on getting spiritual and making sure your spiritualness is correct with the Most High, getting your mentality correct to endure the things, getting your emotions all together. Because whether you like it or not, this is happening. The only answer to reply is, or should I say, the only question is, how will you respond to it? Okay, so I'm going to play this first video. Fair use, fair dealing, and as you know, I say that so our viewers overseas are not blocked from the video. Let's begin.
Let's also be clear. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room. We have the means to improve the states of the world. But two conditions are necessary. The first one is that we act all as stakeholders of larger communities, that we serve not our only self-interests, but we serve the community. That's what we call stakeholder responsibility. And second, that we collaborate. And this is the reason why you find many opportunities here during the meeting to engage into very action and impact-oriented initiatives to make progress related to specific issues on the global agenda.
Now, if you don't know who this man is, he is the founder of the World Economic Forum. Mind you, this is 2022 once again. Okay. Now, he's saying that they have the ability to shape and to build the future. But my question is for you, brothers and sisters. Do you know what future they want to build? A lot of people talk about Illuminati. A lot of people talk about Freemasons, bones and skulls, all the secret societies and fraternal orders. That's child's play compared to this. Listen up. Next video.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to participate for the 8th time at this important meeting, even if only in a virtual way.
Now, first off, again, you see this is 2022. Do you know what this is? This is this week. So while the World Health Organization was voting from the 22nd to the 28th of May, okay, to take the sovereign rights of over 190 countries worldwide. This is happening. So now you see why I show you health and money, because World Health Organization is health, and World Economic or economics is finances. This, brothers and sisters, is called what? Look at the glowing words there. World Government Summit. Like I said, 2022. This is this week. Okay. This was what is today? The 25th? This was 5 days ago. The world government. So, I tell people, hey, you talk about Illuminati, that's nothing. Oh, New World Order, that's nothing. I got the proof. World Government Summit. Okay. I told you nothing will ever be the same after you watch these videos I have for you today.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to participate for the 8th time at this important meeting, even if only in a virtual way. I would like to express my high respect to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum for having taken the initiative for creating such an important global platform for governments shaping the future.
For governments shaping the future. First started off giving honor to one of the princes of where? Dubai. Where is this world summit, this world government summit being held? It's being held as we speak in Dubai.
I also want to congratulate Dubai for having organized such a successful World Expo, despite all the repercussions of the global pandemic. Last November, in partnership with His Excellency Mohammed Al-Gargawi, we brought together 60 top intellectual thinkers here in Dubai. Thank you to His Excellency for enabling this initiative to define a longer-term narrative to make the world more resilient, more inclusive, and more sustainable.
Remember, it's a more inclusive. What kind of inclusive? I'm going to show you that if you were the average Joe, just listening to this and you believe this, you gotta be living under a rock because there is nothing normal about what these people are saying. Continuing.
With all the current issues on our agenda, we tend to forget that we are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, which accelerates global change in much more comprehensive and faster ways.
Did you know we were in the fourth industrial revolution? I didn't know. Did you? Does the common person know? What's going on? Why aren't they sharing what's happening? Something's not right.
Since the previous three revolutions, I'm proud that the government of Dubai has been so foresighted in establishing a Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in cooperation with the World Economic Forum. The objective is to quickly recognize the potential of new technologies, as well as develop the necessary ethical and political frameworks around those new technologies to ensure that those technologies are human-centered and society-oriented.
So I want you to remember, he said, technology that's human-centered, okay, and society-friendly. I want you to remember that. In fact, write it down at the top of your paper if you're taking notes. And then at the end of this, you let me know if it's really human-friendly, this agenda. Because you can hear the words from their mouth. I didn't share with you tons of things from Christ, and I will share more scriptures today. But I'm going to introduce you to what these people are saying. Continuing.
The world has to overcome not only the damage done to our economies and our societies by COVID-19, it also has to confront the repercussions of a dangerous clash between major global powers.
So apparently, global powers are about to clash to ruin everything as we speak. But you're focused on everything else. Not strange. Not strange.
Is truly at a turning point. We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which we...
And key words was systemic change. Systemic, that means it's a mathematical equation to change everything. Systemic. Don't let the fancy words fool you. Systemic means it's systematically going to change. They have things in place to systematically change things.
happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected.
Wait a minute. Now, I know a lot of people hoping and praying that things will get better. Ain't nothing ever gonna get better. You heard what this man said? This demon, excuse me, said? What did he just say?
Systems, food systems, and supply chains. That global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains
Food systems and supply chains
will be deeply affected.
will never be the same. Supplies is your food. Supplies is your gas, your oil. Tell me this, right? If they want the world to go supposedly green and cutting off all access to fossil fuels and coals, how do you heat up your home without coal and fuel? You don't, you die, right? All this stuff about climate change, you cannot heat up your home, especially for those who live in snow territories and mountainous regions. Can't heat up your home. Maybe your home, your system is not electric, right? Maybe it's mostly gas, right? Petroleum, fuel. If they're getting rid of these things, wait a minute. How do you want me to survive? Oh, that's right. They don't. They don't. Look at that face. The face of the devil walking.
In times of crisis, the role of governments is more important and more relevant than ever. What is also needed is a summit like this one to go beyond crisis management and to look into constructive ways we can build our common future.
So to go beyond crisis management and look at how we can build our future. I'm I can't wait to show you the bomb drops. Because I know this ain't nothing. This is just the intro. I'm easing you into it. Because once I share with you, it's going to feel like you've been stabbed in the back several times.
Our futures are intrinsically connected to one another as the profound challenges to mankind, such as climate change, are globally interconnected and require collaborative responses.
Climate change. Like I said, everything to go off the gas, petroleum, and fuel system. Don't you know all energy cars, all cars that run off of a battery, they also have a kill switch? Go and Google and research the bill that Joe Biden, president of Babylon, constructed up that all cars were to be off of fossil fuels and gas and diesel by 2026. Not saying it's going to be around that long, but this is what he said. And within that bill, all vehicles have a kill switch. So if you purchase a vehicle and you go against the government, they can turn your battery off at any moment and your vehicle is no longer useful. This is the climate change. How can you change something that you do not control? Right? Right?
In conclusion, and despite all the challenges, we have to uphold our responsibility, which we have towards the next generation, and which we can only fulfill through collaboration on a national and on a global level.
So they want to come at, all I heard was, I want to come after the next generation of children, and I need national and global cooperation. If you heard the same thing, praise the Most High. But this is what they want. What? What?
I wish you an impactful and successful meeting.
World Government Summit. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you. I'm gonna give you the straight truth, and that's just what it is. It's gonna hurt. Get me wrong. Now, going into the scripture real quick. Matthew 6:24 reads, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. And why am I sharing this? Because now we are, you know, someone shared with me today, right, on a posting on social media. They said a lot of people stress themselves out in the truth because they think they can't live their lives. Okay, they think that the Most High doesn't want them to be successful. Well, here's what Christ said. Christ says, no man can serve. No man can serve. No man can serve. Okay, to be a slave, involuntary, voluntary, be in bondage, do service, do serve. Okay, no man can be a servant. All right, of two masters. Two masters. Look at that. Two masters, supreme in authority, controller. Okay, that's what a master means. For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. So this is the choice that Christ gave us all. You love one and hate the other, or hold on to one and despise the other. You don't get no other choices in between. You cannot, Christ said, you cannot, you cannot, you cannot serve God and mammon. A lot of people don't know what mammon is. I'm sorry to break it to you, but gonna shatter a lot of people's dreams. Mammon is what? Wealth. Okay, that's what it is. Avarice. And check out the term for avarice. Okay. An undue love of money. Look what it says, crave, strive after. So don't sit there. If you love money, this is the time to push yourself away from it. And now remember this, right? How do you know you love something? Think about this, right? If you have ever been in a relationship, ever had marriage, whatever the case may be, you said you love someone or something, right? And you were excessively eager to make sure that you showed love by what? Doing nice gestures, right? Saying nice words, maybe spending time with the individual, working hard to show the person or thing that you love them, right? So love is going all out for something. All right. Love is not, oh well, I'm greedy. Oh, I need my $5 back. I need my $20 back. That's not what love is. Of course, greed is a part of it, but love of money means, brothers and sisters, when they change this system, you will follow right after them. And I'm going to show you. Let's get into the next slide. And this, and I call this slide wasting time with illusions. You know how many people out there are wasting time? Just walking and going off into so many different things. You know what time it is? Maybe if people knew what time it is, they wouldn't waste the time. But I guess not. So, what you may not see. Clip number 1.
Have you heard about Will Rogers? He was a legendary comedian in the 1920s and 30s. Around the time of the Great Depression, Rogers had a great one-liner about the economy. He said, invest in inflation. It is the only thing going up. Sad but true. Almost a century later, his joke still makes sense. Inflation is setting records everywhere. I'll begin with some numbers. American inflation is at 8.5%. That's a 40-year high. Canadian inflation is at 6.8%. That's a 31-year high. In Britain, inflation has topped 9%, their highest in 40 years. And here in India, wholesale inflation has reached 15.08%, the highest in 9 years. In other words, this is a global cost of living crisis. All over the world, prices are rising. In many countries, the people have started revolting. In Sri Lanka, in Peru, in Argentina, thousands of people are protesting against the rising prices. And when prices rise, stock markets fall. Now take a look at this table. NASDAQ was down 4.7% on Wednesday. FTSE was down 2.3%. India Sensex closed 2.6% in the red. Nikkei was down 1.8%. Germany's DAX closed 1.8% down. This was the worst day for US stocks in 2 years. Did inflation cause this tumble? Chances are it did. Inflation basically leaves you with less money in hand. For example, assume that you used to pay $1 for a dozen eggs, $1 for 12 eggs. That was before inflation started to bite. Now you're paying $1.50 for the same number of eggs. So that's $0.50 more. Imagine this happening to all your expenditure for fuel, for groceries, for everything. You would be left with less money in your pocket. Or in this case, less money to invest. And without investors, stock markets will plunge. That's one reason. Reason number 2 is this: stock prices depend on how companies perform. If inflation is higher, companies lose more money. They have to pay more for fuel, for raw materials, and all of this drains their profits. So stocks go down. Now, for those old enough to remember, these are ominous signs. A lot like 2008, oil prices are rising, stock markets are collapsing, inflation is hitting multi-decade highs. These are classic signs of a recession. The question is, how did we not see it?
Look at those prices overseas. Look at, I'm telling you, anyone who's thinking that they're doing something, the scripture said, ye who labor, labor in vain. This is why I say use it or lose it. You ain't gonna keep up. I'm sorry, I don't care how much money you save. You will not keep up. Say it with me. I will not keep up. You're not gonna keep up. This is a systemic, what did he say? A systemic change. This is happening on purpose. So 1 week you can buy something and save a little money. The next week you can use all the money that you saved because you didn't buy it then. That's called systemic inflation. The Bible tells us this in the book of Revelation. Penny for the barley and the wheat. It was telling us inflation, out of this out of control world inflation.
Coming. Some factors, in fact, were unpredictable, like Russia's war in Ukraine. Most did not see it coming. Or China's seemingly endless lockdown in Shanghai. But even before that, the signs were there. Let me show you some data from January 2022. It shows the year-on-year inflation. Crude oil prices were up 57%, phosphate up 104%, soybean 34%, wheat 29%, chicken meat 59%. Remember, this data is from January 2022, that 1 month before Russia actually invaded.
So that was 1 month before things got really bad. So if wheat and bread products were up 29%, well, they're probably at 60 and 70% now. Chicken, meats, we already know how that is. Well, as I tell people, get you a freezer, get you a nice refrigerator, stock up if you can every time you go, because the next time you go, the next month, on your next paycheck or your next budget, is going to be higher than what you last got it. You're not going to survive this thinking you're going to squeeze pennies. This is a systemic change.
Remember, this data is from January 2022. That's 1 month before Russia actually invaded. So higher inflation was already on the horizon. Russia's war only made it worse, which brings us to yet another question. If the war did not trigger inflation, what did? Our friend from 2020, the Wuhan virus pandemic. Time for a quick economics lesson. Inflation is all about demand and supply. If the demand is too high, prices will rise. And that's what's happening right now. During the pandemic, everyone held back on spending. Car sales came down, gadget sales plunged, consumer spending was falling every day. Take India, for example. India's consumer spending dropped 10.8% in 2020. In simpler words, people stopped buying stuff. Now, fast forward to 2022, economies are reopening. The Wuhan virus is almost behind us, so people are back to spending again. India's consumer spending has also recovered. In fact, it is higher than the 2019 levels. Now, usually this is good news for the economy. If people spend more, it means they're confident in the economy. Things are going well. But this time it's different because supply is not able to keep up. And there's a reason for that. Producers have made very little investments in the last couple of years. Their capacity remains the same. Their inventory has not really changed. So this tsunami of demand has overwhelmed them. And none of this was a surprise, by the way. The data was publicly available. The trend was predictable, yet governments were slow to act. Why? Because higher spending benefited them. It gave a positive outlook to the economy. Central banks, too, must take the blame for this. Their interest hikes came too late.
Systemic inflation.
And now they're compensating with back-to-back hikes. In other words, more shocks for the stock markets. The good news is that leaders are admitting the problem. They're acknowledging inflation. They're revising growth targets. The bad news is the world is at war. As long as this war drags on, the world economy will suffer. Two commodities are the worst hit, oil and wheat. Russia and Ukraine are the biggest exporters of wheat in the world. That supply has disappeared since March. And the result is this, a looming food crisis in the global south. We call it food insecurity. Before the pandemic, 135 million people were food insecure. Now that figure is 276 million. 276 million people are food insecure. More than 500,000 people are experiencing famines. If we don't act now, it could get worse. Tens of millions of people could descend into food insecurity. And to tackle this, UN Chief Antonio Guterres is calling for a united front. He's hoping to strike a deal to resume exports from Ukraine.
I have been in intense contact on this issue at the senior leadership level with the Russian Federation, Ukraine, Turkey, the United States, the European Union, and several other key countries. I am hopeful, but there is still a long way to go. The complex security, economic, and financial implications require goodwill on all sides for a package deal to be reached.
For once, let's hope world leaders pull through, because this crisis affects the poorest of the poor. We've talked about complex numbers, complicated economics, but in the end, it really comes down to two things. Do you have food on your table? And how expensive is that food?
Now, first thing you're gonna say is, Ishab, Mr. Ishab, we went over famine before. And that we did. That we did. But I want to show you how it leads to everything and how it plays to every single part of the finances.
Have you heard?
This report is about an alarming trend, rising food
video.
prices from grains to cooking oil, the price of basic staples skyrocketing across the globe. The reason for this is the war in Ukraine and droughts fueled by climate change. For countries, this is an alarming situation. Price hikes are worsening already existing food crisis, fueling protests in several countries across the world. In Argentina, thousands of farmers protested in Buenos Aires. This was against President Alberto Fernandez. His policies to curb inflation have been slammed by the agricultural sector. In the first 4 months of 2022, prices in Argentina rose to 23%. This includes a 6% jump in April. Things got so bad that people took to the streets. It's called Federal March for Work and Salaries. They demanded jobs, security, and a basic living wage.
A typical family made up of 5 people must spend around 80,000 pesos to survive. We see that Argentines do not earn that much money. They earn much less. So we are at a time in which the population is living below the poverty line, and many residents in Buenos Aires and the rest of the provinces are poor. This national march is to speak out on this.
Son pobres. Entonces, bueno, esta marcha federal un poco viene a mostrar esto.
Not just in Argentina, people took to the streets all across Latin America. Protests continued in Chile, Uruguay, Venezuela, Colombia, as people slammed the rising cost of living. In Greece, thousands took to the streets. Their complaints same: a surge in energy and food prices. Greece's annual consumer inflation accelerated to 8.9% in March, hitting its highest level in over 27 years.
The wages are meager in comparison to the rising prices at the current time. The people are exhausted. There is a serious problem here, and this crisis is bringing Greek society to its knees.
In West Asia, too, the situation is no different. Prices of some essentials shot up by as much as 300%. The surge is triggered widespread unrest. Earlier this month, Iran slashed subsidies on basic food items. New prices of wheat and flour were announced. This is how people reacted to this. These protesters, they're chanting death to Raisi. It got so bad that the president himself issued a response. He refused to restore the subsidies, saying that he won't shy away from making hard choices. In Sudan, protests escalated into violence. A protester was shot and killed in the Sudanese city of Madani as demonstrators marched across the country to protest a military coup. Sudan's currency has lost more than a third of its value since the coup, rapidly driving up prices of food, fuel, and other goods. Global food prices started to rise in mid-2020. This was when businesses shut down due to the pandemic. Since then, there have been problems with key crops in many parts of the world. The Ukraine war dramatically worsened the outlook for food prices. The UN Food Agency says prices hit an all-time record in February and then again in March. The big question here is, when will the prices come down? That's hard to say. Agricultural production depends on hard to predict factors like weather. The United Nations says the problem of global food security cannot be solved without restoring Ukrainian agricultural production and Russian food output. The World Bank forecasts that the wheat prices could rise more than 40% in 2022. The sharp rise in fertilizer prices could also discourage farmers. This could bring down yields and result in lower production. As climate warms, extreme weather is becoming more common, posing yet another risk to crop production across the globe.
So I said this whole series will be called Enduring the Final Afflictions. Don't sit there and think because you're in a prospective country, Mexico, Babylon, Europe, China, Japan, Australia, don't think it's not happening over the world. This is systemic inflation that is to bring all people to their knees. I'm going to show you. Next.
And now on to another crucial meeting. Business and political leaders have gathered in the Swiss Alps for the World Economic Forum's annual summit. The Davos Summit is back in person.
Now, they got the World Health Organization, they got the World Government Summit, and they got the Davos 2022 summit going on right now in Switzerland. What is happening? No, these things used to be spread out. They got their demons working overtime. Overtime. But are you paying attention? Or are you wasting time with illusions?
Have you heard about Will Rogers? He was elected.
Excuse me.
This report is about
And now on to another crucial meeting. Business and political leaders have gathered in the Swiss Alps for the World Economic Forum's annual summit. The Davos Summit is back in person 2 years after the pandemic. And while the bigwigs enjoy the clear blue skies, concerns have been raised regarding dark clouds looming over the world economy. Since the last in-person meeting, a lot has changed. First, there was the COVID-19 pandemic that disrupted the global supply chains. And just when things started looking hopeful, came the Russia-Ukraine war. The war in Eastern Europe has led to a spike in fuel prices across the world. It has triggered inflation even in the world's wealthiest economies. And this price rise undermined consumer confidence, shaking the world's financial markets, prompting central banks, including the US Federal Reserve, to raise interest rates. Speaking on the global financial concerns, the German Vice Chancellor and Economy Minister Robert Habeck warned the leaders about the very real possibility of a recession.
We have high inflation in some of the countries in Europe, in the US, and a lot of other countries. We have an energy crisis, you must call it this way. We have food poverty, and we have the climate crisis. We can't solve the problems if we are only concentrating on only one of the crises. But if none of the problems are solved, I'm really afraid that we are running into a global recession with a tremendous effect, not only about on climate protection and climate action, but
of the global stability at all.
Now, as I said, brothers and sisters, I've been telling y'all, use or lose. Because you may have lived in Babylon, you may have went through a few recessions, but you ain't never seen nothing like this called a global recession. Also known as what Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum, the man I just played twice in the first and the previous clip, he's the one who created the Great Reset. And so now they're talking about a global recession. I want you to know that all these videos, with the exception of one, is posted within this week. Within this week, well, give or take 5 days, not even a week ago. So these are all recent. But are you paying attention? Because a global recession is coming.
And remember, last month, the IMF cut its global growth outlook for the second time this year. The international agency said that the war in Ukraine and inflation are a clear and present danger for many countries. Meanwhile, the IMF managing director said that although there is a war and tighter financial conditions, she is not expecting a recession yet. The IMF chief has warned against geo-economic fragmentation, saying that the cost of further disintegration would be enormous across countries, and people at every income level would be hurt.
Not at this.
Did you just hear that? People at every income level. It don't matter if you save money. It don't matter if you don't save. You will be drastically affected. Brothers and sisters, use what you got. I'm telling you, use it. Because this thing is over.
Point, it doesn't mean.
So let me start with Kristalina Gorgier, the Managing Director of the IMF. We will address some of those potential.
And our business editor, Sumit Chaturvedi, getting us this report from Davos. Take a look.
The only way they are saying this can be solved is through coming together of stakeholders, all of the stakeholders, and at WEF in Davos, well, they clearly have enough time to discuss all that. But at the same time, the challenges facing the world economy are multiple. They are not just single. 2 years ago, we were facing COVID-19 pandemic. At that time, there was only one way, which was to go out of pandemic as soon as possible and normalize the overall living standards, the living way of living, everything. That's happened. But since that has happened, we are looking at multiple challenges, including Russia-Ukraine war, oil and costly oil and inflation, high inflation also, interest rates also going up. So there are multiple challenges. Well, that can also only be solved by coming together of stakeholders. As we spoke to many people here, they're talking to each other how that can best be done. We have central bank governors here and finance minister, trade minister, CEOs. So they all have to come together and solve all of these problems, and that is the only solution. Well, if talking about climate change, that is something the carbon neutrality the world is talking about, and that also has to be done by the people here only. But it's talk going on. Just it has to be seen whether they walk the talk or not for the next few months. That is something which is important. Every year coming here and discussing doesn't solve for purpose if they don't walk the talk. And that is something everything has been waiting for. So here, the crisis has a different meaning. Multiple crises are being faced by people here, and they are looking at the solutions to them. But discussions going on, and we have to see what action is taken over the next few months, and then only some solution can possibly emerge. But there's some things like Russia-Ukraine war, and everybody is trying to know where it's going to end, or at least know what is the outcome going to be. That is something which is keeping everybody concerned on these challenges.
You hearing it from their mouths. Now, once again, you said, Minister Yashab, why is this so important? I mean, You're sharing all of this. You're sharing all of this. I don't know how we get to this point. How do we get to this? I'll share. And we got to this point because obviously, you know, the things that occurred in 2019, 2020 with all over the world. But remember, Schwab said just this week, he said systemic change. So what is a change? If the world is in utter chaos and about to tank in a recession due to inflation, they would have to, they seem to be really calm with all the people worldwide, right? As if they have something planned. Well, let me show you some of the things that are planned.
Have you heard?
This report is about an alarm.
Excuse me. That's my one video. I apologize for that. Check this out. Because now, this is what they want. But you didn't know. You just go to work and, you know, try and take care of your family and, you know.
Have you heard about Will Rogers?
What needs to be done. But you didn't know
This report is about
were occurring.
And now on to
But this is what they want. Check this out. This one video was in 2020 while everyone was locked down. Check it out. They were preparing for a world after COVID. But were you? Were you? Look at every aspect of life they want to have these things involved in. Look at that. Governance, the economy, healthcare, education, security, infrastructure, leadership. Nothing was untouched. Now, like I said, this was in 2020. So now, bringing it to 2022, what happens now?
economics is boring. Alive for $2.
Well, what happens now when, I'm just going to blow these up. What happens now when you're like, okay, maybe something will change. I mean, that was 2020, right? Give you a benefit of the doubt. What happens next? Do you know? Check this out. I'm sorry, once again, I got to figure out this part.
Have you heard of?
This report is about an alarming trend.
And now on.
This one here. Refugee camp. Now, this one also is 2018. This is a refugee camp, and I want you to pay attention. Refugee camp running on blockchain. Now they're paying without physical money. To pay, they have to look inside of a camp. The iris scanner connects to their World Food Program accounts. Is that not startling? World Food Program account. So you mean to tell me I need an account through the World Food Program to feed my family? This is where we're going. Also hope blockchain could help refugees find work. How would they find work? Oh, because they're already ready for the beast system. As it can also store a person's digital identity. Wow. No need for paperwork, passports, certificates, financial history. The World Food Program has been paying aid directly to refugees. But the payments cost millions of dollars in bank transaction fees. Blockchain cuts all the fees by 98%. You notice how you never seen, if you're in Babylon, have you ever seen an Afghani immigrant? Oh, they don't need to go to the bank because they already got money. They ain't gonna be shopping at Walmart like you and me because they got all the money. With blockchain, there is no need for a bank account or even cash. You better use it, brothers and sisters. You better use it because if you don't use it, you most definitely are gonna lose it. Funds can be debited directly from the World Food Program. Is blockchain the future of humanitarian aid? I'm gonna show you it's our future. It's world future. World Economic Forum, once again, showing you. Stop closing your eyes and thinking that this is gonna go away or you're gonna make a way through this. I'm sorry to ruin your day. You not. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. Fortune, hey, Most High said these things would occur. No one listened to the Most High. No one listened to those reading the Bible. And then what happens? They cry, oh, Most High, help me. Help me, Most High, help me. Oh my, help me. I'm gonna take these out so I don't have to keep doing this. Now, check this out. After this, check out what's now new. MasterCard. I got this week too. Look what it says. May 16th. Not even 9 days from now. MasterCard has launched tech that lets shoppers pay with their face or hand. Is that not the same as blockchain? Oh, they introducing everyone without telling them. Instead of swiping Debit and card customers can authenticate the purchase with a smile or a wave. No, that's too much.
So you can forget the clunkiness of taking your wallet out, of your devices out, of cards out.
Set standards to protect user data. Yeah, okay.
So biometrics actually help secure that entire problem area, which has been the reason for many breaches and hacks. And with biometrics, the experience is also very cool and very simple.
When users enroll, their biometric data is replaced with a token. Oh, wow. A token randomly strings alphanumeric characters and is linked to the payment card.
I think the first thing to understand about biometric data is its sheer uniqueness. Unlike things like phone numbers or email addresses, but our biometric identifiers are unique to ourselves and very difficult, if not almost impossible, to change. If they are being stolen as part of a data breach, or if they are compromised in any other way, it's very difficult to recover that biometric identifier and to safely protect it again.
You're sitting up there thinking, oh no, we're all good. Everything's gonna get better. I'm telling y'all, ain't nothing gonna get better. The only better and peace you looking for is in the kingdom of heaven. That's it. If you're looking for something on this earth, you as dumb as the other people that's gonna fall for this. I'm sorry to say.
The problems are global. The solutions must be global.
So the problems are global and the solutions must be global.
It's going to be very, very difficult to reach a consensus on the way forward if you're questioning science.
Wait a minute. You're telling me I can't question science? I believe in God, not science. I was telling you right off the bat, if you believe in the Most High, if you believe in God, this ain't for you. But they're saying, I don't care what you think anyway.
I think we'll see autonomy and artificial intelligence advance.
What is he doing at the World Government Summits?
A closer merger of biological intelligence and digital intelligence.
Imagine a world with completely frictionless payments, a world where you can send value instantly, basically for free.
We can prevent most outbreaks from getting out of control. Can we create a pandemic-free world?
Let's make ourselves responsible.
Harrison Ford. Now, why he talking? Ain't he an actor? Go on now. They need to stop this.
For what we know, let's work together.
Look at that. World Government Summit, the 29th to 30th of March. Now they also having one also in May, this May as well. Okay. Now check this out. Why is all this? He said, you should, I see now a little bit, we getting a blockchain, pay with your face or hand. I don't understand blockchain. I don't understand any of this. Here you go.
Economics is boring. This is a lie we've been told all our lives, but accept it or not, our life depends on it. War, poverty, revolution, they all hinge on economics, which itself rests on one key concept: money. The ultimate catalyst for the worst and the best of human endeavor. Like it or not, money defines our social status. It also compromises our morals sometimes. Some people spend their lives chasing these rectangular pieces of paper. Some are willing to fight, even kill for it. But are we headed towards the end of money as we know it? Will we have to burn our rupees, dollars, and euros, transform every single penny we have into digital binaries? Or
are we at the end of money as we know it? Other countries are reporting it, but if you in Babylon or Europe, you dumb go lucky thinking you saving something. You ain't saving nothing. I told you, when the well of prosperity goes dry, you gonna be left high and dry unless you worship Satan.
should I say, cryptocurrency? Is it really the new gold, the future of money, or is it gambling, a recipe for financial disaster? If these are questions you've been asking yourselves, I have a story to share. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. What the internet did for information, digital currency is doing for money. It is revolutionizing transactions and eliminating banking. Not a week goes by when cryptocurrencies do not dominate the news. There are record-breaking price surges every other day. Your colleagues won't stop talking about it. Your friends want you to invest. What do? You weigh the pros and cons. Understand where you're putting your money, and that's where the problem lies. Most of us do not understand money and its handling. It's a life skill we were not taught in school, beyond the basic computing. Now, if money changes form, the first thing you try to do is understand it. And that's what we'll do today. And if you're worried that we are going to get too technical, do not. It's all plain English. Let's start with understanding three basic concepts: Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency.
Yep,
What are they?
I got you. I got you, brothers and sisters. You're going to learn today. You're going to learn today.
Mean? Here are some quick definitions. First, Bitcoin. It is the name of the best known cryptocurrency. Like the euro is the name of one type of currency, Bitcoin is digital and decentralized. It exists electronically. It's a computer code only. And I'll explain in a bit. For now, the second definition, cryptocurrency. It is a medium of exchange for Bitcoin, just as notes and coins are for rupees and dollars. Crypto means data encryption. It basically ensures the security of transactions. Now, you may have heard about your messages being encrypted. It means they're secure. It's the same for crypto. It's encrypted data. But unlike debit and credit cards, cryptocurrency has no physical counterpart. It's the only form it exists in. The third definition is blockchain. It is the technology that enables the existence of cryptocurrencies. Think of it like a computer file that stores data. But this is a file across a vast network of computers, and it's not exclusive to Bitcoin and crypto. Okay. Blockchain has many, many uses. This is just one of them. So simply put, this is everything we don't understand about money combined with everything we don't understand about technology. Now, don't lose your head if you do not get it, because most people don't. And surveys have shown this. Only 1 out of 10 people understand how cryptocurrencies work. And 1 in 3 cryptocurrency investors themselves know little to nothing about it.
Now, if I wanted you to submit and bow, to eat, sleep, and live peacefully, I would tell you nothing. And then when it's time, I would tell you every false thing. And isn't that what they're doing? Isn't that what they're doing?
Take Bitcoin, for instance. No one even knows who created it. It has been in circulation since 2009, but the identity of its creator or creators remains a mystery to this day. 2009. Over the years, many people have claimed to be or have been called Nakamoto. but there's still no clarity. Whether it's one person or a group of people, no one really knows.
That I have nothing to do with Bitcoin, nothing to do with developing. I was just an engineer doing something else.
What Nakamoto did, though, was solve a potential flaw in digital banking, double spending. Now, what's that? Let me explain through an example. If a person buys a sandwich worth $10, for instance, they cannot spend that same $10 bill anywhere else. But when the same amount is paid digitally, some people can manipulate systems and spend the same $10 more than once. And that, in simple words, is double spending. To stop this from happening, you have banks and credit card companies acting as middlemen. So they vouch for the transactions that you make, and they prove that you've already paid for something. At the same time, they take their own cut of the transactions you make. Enter Bitcoin. It solves both these fiddly problems. Like I said, it is decentralized, meaning there is no third party controlling it. Instead, it is regulated by its own community of users. And all of them record all of their transactions at the same time. Any attempts to fool the Bitcoin community will ideally get noticed, and the payment will get rejected. No single user or government or bank or credit card company can force a fee on your payment or control its flow. Plus, Bitcoin is said to be secure from the effects of currency debasement and inflation. Does sound perfect, doesn't it? Well, it isn't. Bitcoin is not without problems. The transactions are irreversible. Once you've paid, you've paid. You will not get a penny back. Plus, it's extremely volatile. The value keeps fluctuating. On the 14th of April, it was worth 63,000 US dollars, one Bitcoin. On the 23rd of April, it sank below $50,000.
So that's for all the people out there who like, oh, I'm about to get me. You ain't getting nothing. They done created something almost what, 13 years ago? 13, 14 years ago, they created a money system. Didn't tell the vast majority of the public in the world. Now they're changing it, and now you can't afford it. There's only one way they're going to do it. Bring you to your knees. That's what they're doing. Bringing the world to their knees. You want to eat? Come to your father. You want to sleep in this home? Come to your father. You want clothes? Come to your father. Who's their father? The devil.
Why does this happen? You see, like everything else, the price of Bitcoin is driven by demand and supply. When the demand increases, the prices go up. When people see the price going up, they feel like cashing in. So they try to sell their own Bitcoin. And this leads to more people wanting to sell. But sometimes there are not enough buyers. So they lower their price. And on it goes like a roller coaster ride. So fluctuation is problem number one. The second problem has to do with security. The digital wallets containing Bitcoin are stored in phones and computers. And we all know how vulnerable these are to theft and hackers. In 2016, a Los Angeles hospital ended up spending 17,000 US dollars on illegal transactions after hackers took control of its computers for more than a week. So if you have a good amount of money invested in Bitcoin, create passwords that are difficult to guess. Also, stop visiting those weird and suspicious websites. The same rules apply for every other cryptocurrency, which brings us to the question, how many are there? 4,000 plus. There are more than 4,000 cryptocurrencies in the world. Why do so many of them exist? Because why not? The key software to create a crypto is open source, which basically means anyone and everyone can create them. So there's Litecoin, Namecoin, Peercoin, Gridcoin, Ripple, Primecoin, Ardor, Mazacoin, Stellar, and this, Dogecoin, a cryptocurrency that started off as a meme. It has now become mainstream. In 2013, two software engineers used the image of a dog and made this cryptocurrency as a joke. The aim was to make fun of how people would invest in anything. And guess what? People did just that. On the 20th of April, Dogecoin's market capitalization surged to more than $50 billion. It ended up being worth more than Ford and Marriott. All thanks to Dogecoin supporters who use hashtags and social media posts to fuel its price. And this episode is both laughable and fascinating. It tells you about the times we're living in, where online campaigns can have a surprisingly big impact on the market price of anything. An age where parody can be turned into a real asset. Dogecoin is worth $50 billion because people believe it is worth $50 billion. You know what they said about the power of what you believe in? Perhaps this was it. The same in the case of Bitcoin. The fundamental reason it has value is because people agree it has value. Think of it like these shoes with human blood. They're worth $1,000. Why? Because its manufacturer thought someone would pay $1,000.
Now remember, those are Lil Nas X sneakers, by the way.
Dollars for such shoes. Who, by the way, was absolutely right because all of these shoes have been sold out. What does this tell you? That a vast majority of people investing in cryptocurrency are just responding to the craze around it. They're giving it a shot. What about governments? These countries recognize cryptocurrency. The UK is working on something called Bitcoin. Russia does not recognize cryptocurrency. China cracked down on it, but then it shifted position. Now Beijing calls it alternative investment. In India, cryptocurrency is not legal tender, but there are people who invest in it because people around them do it. The bottom line is this. The future of currency is digital. There is no doubt about it. But when you invest,
the future of currency is digital. Don't save your money. It ain't gonna go nowhere.
Currency is digital, there is no doubt about it. But when you invest, you must know that you're not just investing, you're also gambling. And if you're ready to gamble, you must also be prepared to win or lose.
Right. Next slide. Now, this one, brothers and sisters, the previous one was an informative. This one is going to punch you in the face. Okay, these videos here will punch you in the face. It will slap you. They will make you feel like you don't know what's going on in the world. And they're going to also make you mad too. So, with that being said, let's get the videos going so I can show you what is happening to our world. I'm going to try and break these up real quick. Apologize. This one's called Submitting Your Soul. Why would I say that? Check this out. World will be shaped. Us. Our world will be shaped. Now, I got the drop, brothers and sisters. Now, you can say, oh, Yushab, what are you about to show us? Because now, I'm going to hurt feelings. I'm going to hurt your feelings. Everyone who said there's no conspiracy, I'm going to hurt their feelings. we're gonna hurt everybody's feelings right here. Okay. Let's just do it like this. Do this. Like this. And check this demon out.
COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance.
Wait. What did he say? COVID and what?
COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance.
COVID was important for what? Hey, it came from the horse's mouth. Don't no one tell me, well, I know people who got this. I don't care what you say. I care about what these people say. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. Because these people are the ones dictating. Satan is using these people. Listen one more time.
COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. We want to stop this epidemic. We need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin.
Well, what? They need to monitor what? What's happening under their skin?
To monitor what's happening under their skin. What we've seen so far is corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin. We now see mass surveillance systems established even in democratic countries, which previously rejected them. And we also see a change in the nature of surveillance. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin. Now it's going under the skin. Governments want to know not just where we go or who we meet. Above all, they want to know what is happening under our skin. What's our body temperature?
So, what was that shot they just took? Big dummies. It was surveillance.
Our skin. What's our body temperature? What's our blood pressure? What is our medical condition? Now humans are developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are.
They're what? Oh, you thought this wasn't biblical, huh? They're doing what?
Divine powers of creation and destruction.
They want to have the power to give you life or take you out. They're going to ban me for this one. They shouldn't know, because this is their people saying
it. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
We're going to make humans into gods. What is it going to take to sell your soul?
I know that in recent years, we saw populist politicians undermining deliberately the trust that people have in important institutions like universities, like respectable media outlets. These populist politicians told people that, say, scientists are this small elite disconnected from the real people. I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news. Humans.
Say what? So they believe that they have the power to create life and death, divine power, but they don't even believe in Christ. What is going on?
Are now hackable animals.
Whoa. What did he just say?
Son of God. This is fake news. Humans are now hackable animals.
You are an animal to these people. You are an animal. Bah, moo. You're an animal to them.
You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
That's what?
COVID is critical, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. In the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
It's over. You don't get no choice. Stop playing. And if you didn't know who this man is Yuval Noah Harari, Hebrew University of Jerusalem, transhumanist and top advisor for Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. It's going to happen. It's not, oh, well, that sounds, like your perspective. You know what? I hate those people who say that. Anyone who says, oh, this is your perspective, these are the people who meet every year. These are the people who want to bring change to everyone's life. They are doing it. And now, while you and I were locked down all over the world in 2020, listen to what he said.
In the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough. And nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people.
They want to hack millions of people.
Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people.
Systematically, there it goes. There it goes.
We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals. Data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it.
What?
And if indeed we succeed in hacking and engineering life, this will be not just the greatest revolution in the history of humanity. This will be the greatest revolution in biology since the very beginning of life 4 billion years ago. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed in the basic rules of the game of life. All of life for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change.
No.
Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design.
Intelligent design. Now listen to this.
Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds.
So what? Oh, you thought this wasn't about the Most High.
With evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds. By intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds.
You feel upset yet?
But our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud, these are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds. Science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm, So after 4 billion years of organic life shaped by natural selection, we are entering the era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. So does the data about my DNA, my brain, my body, my life, does it belong to me or to some corporation or to the government or perhaps to the human collective? Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over. That's over. Over. Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale.
It's just a matter of be careful what you put in your body. Be careful what you put in your body. Because once this goes in, remember, they're doing everything to make sure that you don't become a design of the Most High. Or should I say that you don't stay a design of the Most High. They don't, these people don't love God. They hate him.
Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized. Everything is being monitored. In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste.
You should never allow a good crisis to go to waste. Oh man, these people are the devil.
Because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. But in a crisis, you see, we have no chance. So let's do it.
Vaccine won't help us go
The
through
vaccine
this, of course.
will help us, of course. It will make things, you know, more manageable. Surveillance. People could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think.
What did he just say? I told all them dumb idiots who got that shot. These people said it.
When a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin.
Under the skin. What were they making people get to keep their job? Surveillance under the skin. Big fools.
Which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves.
Say what? Oh, this is it, brothers and sisters.
I believe is maybe the most important event of the 21st century. Understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, it changes us. The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity. And offer certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about.
So they, all those dummies out there who got that. I told them and no one listened. They all belong to the devil. And guess what? They gonna block this video because I said this the first time, and the first video that they block, I said this without even having this man on my lesson. And then they said, oh, it was medical misinformation. No, it ain't. It came straight from y'all. Y'all love your daddy so much. Satan. Good grief. Did it hit you yet? Did it hit you? Hit you. It's over. Yep. Hold on. Sorry. This even. I'll bring the heat. You can handle the heat in the kitchen. Come on. But if they can't, yeah, you tell all those sensitive people. What did the Most High say in Second Ezra? Put away weak nature. Get over it. You took the shot. It's over. Sorry. What would it do to submit your soul to the devil? Just a shot? Now check this out. This video is a little long, quite long actually. So
in Davos, we hear so much about the enormous promises of technology. And these promises are certainly real, but technology might also disrupt human society and the very meaning of human life in numerous ways, ranging from the creation of a global useless class to the rise of data colonialism and of digital dictatorships.
Did he just call us useless? Ma. Did he just call us useless? I know my worth and the Most High. I'm not useless. I didn't take no shot. Sorry.
First, we might face upheavals on the social and economic level. Automation will soon eliminate millions upon millions of jobs. And while new jobs will certainly be created, it is unclear whether people will be able to learn the necessary new skills fast enough.
They want to get rid of all your jobs and then only have certain jobs, but jobs that they don't even think that you can do.
Suppose you're a 50-year-old truck driver and you just lost your job to a self-driving vehicle. Now, there are new jobs in designing software or in teaching yoga to engineers. But how does a 50-year-old truck driver reinvent himself or herself as a software engineer or as a yoga teacher? And people will have to do it not just once, but again and again throughout their lives, because the automation revolution will not be a single watershed event following which the job market will settle down into some new equilibrium. Rather, it will be a cascade of ever bigger disruptions, because AI is nowhere near its full potential. All jobs will disappear, new jobs will emerge.
He said it. I know they're going to ban me for this one. If you got the link, go on and send this to everyone. All jobs will disappear. Why did, hey, the Bible don't lie. You don't believe it? Let every man be a liar. But in Second Ezra, the Most High said, he who labors, labors in vain. It's no point. You got no value to work. Now, I'm not sitting there saying be a person that just sits at home. Get yourself together for the Most High, because what's coming, you ain't going to be asleep at night. You ain't even going to have a home to sleep in or a car to sleep in. They're going to destroy it all.
But then the new jobs will rapidly change and vanish. Whereas in the past, humans have had to struggle against exploitation. In the 21st century, the really big struggle will be against irrelevance. And it's much worse to be irrelevant than to be exploited.
Wow. Another way to call someone useless. So it's going to be about, can you stay relevant to the system of the beast? Hey, you better tell brothers and sisters they better pick a side quick. I don't care because playing sports ain't relevant. Being a lawyer or a doctor and judges ain't relevant. Why? They got machines. Anyone see that new Tesla bot that Elon Musk just made? Tesla bot's gonna be in your home assisting you, just like iRobot. It's real now. So us as the hackable animals are gonna be irrelevant to their world. Better choose the Most High.
Those who fail in the struggle against irrelevance would constitute a new useless class.
So if you can't become relevant to them, you will be put in the useless class. And you know who the useless class are? Those who serve the Most High. Cause I ain't working a day, a second. I'm not even entertaining a job, application, an interview, an open house, or nothing for them. You done already said you don't like my design by my Heavenly Father. I want nothing to do with you. Hey, I'm just saying.
People who are useless, not from the viewpoint of their friends and family, of course, but useless from the viewpoint of the economic and political system.
Wait a minute. Those who don't get the mark of the beast, you're useless if you don't submit to my will. That's what they're saying. You're useless. Hey, better find the Most High and get that relationship with Him real quick. That's all I'm going to say.
And this useless class will be separated by an ever-growing gap from the ever more powerful elite.
Mm.
The AI revolution might create unprecedented inequality, not just between classes, but also between countries.
The AI revolution, they're trying to tell you, the Most High is trying to have your eyes opened. Everything will be Terminator. Everything. Everything will be iRobot. Everything. Everything will be the surrogate movie with Bruce Willis. Everything. Everything. They told you the normal isn't coming back. They told you that. But you didn't believe it.
In the 19th century, a few countries like Britain and Japan industrialized first, and they went on to conquer and exploit most of the world. If we aren't careful, the same thing will happen in the 21st century with AI.
Mm.
We are already in the midst of an AI arms race, with China and the USA leading the race, and most countries being left far, far behind. Unless we take action to distribute the benefits and power of AI between all humans, AI will likely create immense wealth in a few high-tech hubs, while other countries will either go bankrupt or will become exploited data colonies. Now, we aren't talking about a science fiction scenario of robots rebelling against humans. We are talking about far more primitive AI, which is nevertheless enough to disrupt the global balance.
Oh, man.
Just think, what will happen to developing economies once it is cheaper to produce textiles or cars in California than in Mexico? And what will happen to politics in your country in 20 years when somebody in San Francisco or in Beijing knows the entire medical and personal history of every politician, every judge, and every journalist in your country, including all their sexual escapades, all their mental weaknesses, and all their corrupt dealings. Will it still be an independent country, or will it become a data colony? When you have enough data, you don't need to send soldiers in order to control a country.
They could just off you. They could just off you right from the get-go.
When you have enough data, you don't need to send soldiers in order to control a country. Alongside inequality, the other major danger we face is the rise of digital dictatorships that will monitor everyone all the time. This danger can be stated in the form of a simple equation, which I think might be the defining equation of life in the 21st century. B times C times D equals R, which means biological knowledge multiplied by computing power multiplied by data equals the ability to hack humans. If you know enough biology and you have enough computing power and data, you can hack my body and my brain and my life, and you can understand me better than I understand myself. You can know my personality type, my political views, my sexual preferences, my mental weaknesses, my deepest fears and hopes.
Sound like Satan wanna play with people's minds, don't it? Yeah. Fifth wave kind of thing. Control the people to kill others.
You know more about me than I know about myself. And you can do that not just to me, but to everyone. A system that understands us better than we understand ourselves can predict our feelings and decisions, can manipulate our feelings and decisions, and can ultimately make decisions for us.
Oh, so that stuff, that surveillance stuff that they put in people can manipulate and make decisions for you. They ain't ready. They're not ready for the truth.
Now, in the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough. And nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls.
He really believed this. I want you to understand this because he keeps saying it everywhere he goes.
We are now hackable animals. That's what we are. The power to hack human beings can, of course, be used for good purposes, like providing much better healthcare. But if this power...
I don't care what no one says. Hacking another human being, nothing good comes out of that. That's called possession. That's called possession. Hacking.
Falls into the hands of a 21st century Stalin, the result will be the worst totalitarian regime in human history, and we already have a number of applicants for the job of 21st century Stalin. Just imagine North Korea in 20 years, when everybody has to wear a biometric bracelet which constantly monitors your blood pressure, your heart rate, your brain activity, 24 hours a day. You listen to a speech on the radio by the great leader, and they know what you actually feel. You can clap your hands and smile, But if you're angry, they know you'll be in the gulag tomorrow morning.
They coming. 20 years my foot. They about to throw it down.
And if we allow the emergence of such total surveillance regimes, don't think that the rich and powerful in places like Davos will be safe. Just ask Jeff Bezos. In Stalin's USSR, the state monitored members of the communist elite more than anyone else. The same will be true of future total surveillance regimes. The higher you are in the hierarchy, the more closely you will be watched. Do you want your CEO or your president to know what you really think about them? So it's in the interest of all humans, including the elites, to prevent the rise of such digital dictatorships.
I may not be the smartest person, but it's almost like he's giving them a lesson on how to create digital dictatorship, right? Okay, I thought I was the only one. Carry on.
And in the meantime, if you get a suspicious WhatsApp message from some prince, don't open it. Now, even if we indeed prevent the establishment of digital dictatorships, the ability to hack humans might still undermine the very meaning of human freedom. Because as humans will rely on AI to make more and more decisions for us, authority will shift from humans to algorithms. And this is already happening. Already today, billions of people trust the Facebook algorithm to tell us what is new. The Google algorithm tells us what is true. Netflix tells us what to watch, and the Amazon and Alibaba algorithms tell us what to buy. In the not so distant future, similar algorithms might tell us where to work and whom to marry, and also decide whether to hire us for a job, whether to give us a loan, and whether the central bank should raise the interest rate.
Even telling you who you should marry. Sound like a dictatorship to me.
And if you ask why you will not give a loan, or why the bank didn't raise the interest rate, the answer will always be the same. Because the computer says no. And since the limited human brain lacks sufficient biological knowledge, computing power, and data, humans will simply not be able to understand the computer's decisions. So even in supposedly free...
I love how he speaks in the third person as if he's not a human. Humans will not be able to understand, right? Because they aren't brothers and sisters. These are real life demons.
countries, humans are likely to lose control over our own lives and also lose the ability to understand public policy. Already now, how many humans really understand the financial system? Maybe 1%, to be very generous. In a couple of decades, the number of humans capable of understanding the financial system will be exactly 0. Now, we humans are used to thinking about life as a drama of decision-making. What will be the meaning of human life when most decisions are taken by algorithms? We don't even have philosophical models to understand such an existence.
The fourth industrial revolution has also some risks. We don't want to become the slaves of robots, of algorithms.
They want us to be slaves.
No, we want to make sure that this revolution serves humanity. And in order to do so, we have to shape the policies around the fourth industrial revolution.
Facebook and so on moved forward
in a rules-free environment. And now suddenly society becomes aware what the negative consequences could be. So we haven't had a discussion really who owns personal data. If we say data become as important as oil or as everything in the world, they have a value. So who owns the value? Is it correct that Facebook and so on? I'm not giving a judgment, but someone has to look into this issue. The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take the genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. You know, when you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. And of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications. And we have to be prepared for it. And that's what we want to do in Davos next year.
Talk about technology and how the ways it can be deployed, that contribute to growth rather than exacerbate unemployment. How will that implement itself?
It's a big question mark because there is a fear that technology, robots, just to take one.
You get productivity from machines.
Exactly. And it replaces maybe the workforce or jobs faster than we can replace them with a new job. So not everybody can be a robot polisher and so on. You said about the European Chips Act, because it's an important step to create the physical brain for digitalization and to have it located to a certain extent in Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, the future is already here. The future has begun. It's a new system. It changes us because it's a fusion of our physical, digital, and biological spheres. It's an integration of those spheres. Just think of sensors planted into our brains. The opportunities are immense. And we have to prepare ourselves already now.
So the future is here, in case you didn't know. In case you may have been sleeping. In case you may have been thinking about everything else. Future's here.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
Now, brothers and sisters, I have a science degree. Sports med. I had to learn. I actually chose this class. And the carbon footprint or the ecological footprint is beyond sinister. Go ahead and on your own time, check it out. They even have certain charts where it can show you if you go to work every day and how much you're taking up of the world's oxygen and what you need to do less of to contribute, how to make more oxygen, cutting off your electric, cutting off your AC, using your car, carpool, all kinds of stuff. Not purchasing certain foods. If you eat meat, you're contributing to more oxygen going in your cooking. They want people to eat raw. all this. It is sick, twisted agenda.
We need to realize that humans are now hackable animals. You can hack them with free will. I don't think that the question of, is very interesting or very central. It has been central in Western civilization because of some kind of basically theological mistake made thousands of years ago. But it's a misunderstanding of the human condition. Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over. You look at Japan today, and Japan is maybe 20 years ahead of the world in everything. And you see all these new social phenomenon of people having relationships with virtual spouses. And you have people who never leave the house and just.
That's also with robots, having relationships with robots. Japan has done that in the recent months this year.
Live through computers.
If you take a genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has big impact on your identity.
We need to realize that humans are now hackable animals. You can hack them. We have all this still myth of free will, that everything we choose is of our own free will. And this is a myth that served us well for a couple of centuries, but now it's becoming dangerous. I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news.
Wait, that's not true?
And now if you give the tools to start changing or overcoming biology, just, think about sex life. Almost every religion and every ideology wanted to really change human sexuality or limit it, but they couldn't. You had vows of chastity in the church, and how many people actually lived up to the vows of chastity? Now think, if you can really start messing with human biology, what will be the result of these sexual fantasies of different religions and ideologies? A good two-way communication system, direct communication system between brains and computers, this is kind of the watershed moment. I mean, once you have a good two-way, nobody has any idea what happens after that. Maybe in a couple of decades, when people look back, the thing they will remember from the COVID crisis is this is the moment when everything went digital. And this was the moment when everything became monitored, that we agreed to be surveyed all the time, not just in authoritarian regimes, but even in democracies. And maybe most importantly at all, this was the moment when surveillance started going under the skin. I think the big process that's happening right now in the world is hacking human beings, the ability to hack humans, to understand deeply what's happening within you, what makes you go. And for that, the most important data is not what you read and who you meet and what you buy, it's what's happening inside your body. So we had these two big revolutions, the computer science revolution or the infotech revolution and the revolution in the biological sciences. And they are still separate, but they are about to merge.
History is truly at a turning point. We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected.
Brothers and sisters, that brings me to the scriptures. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the left column, the Shabbat prep, and I'm going to do the right column on the Shabbat. I have a feeling they would you and I know they probably take this video down. So at least for those who wouldn't get that video, at least they would get the scriptures that's tied to it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it short. Here, brothers and sisters, I do pray that this was very informing and edifying. I know before you came to this video, you probably had no idea the extent of where they were going. It'll probably keep you up at night. I'm going to keep reiterating this until we can no longer speak on the computers, or until the time is that we actually have to, where the rubber meets the road and we have to actually run for safety. Get yourselves together spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, because this is not a drill. They have started this from a ways long time ago, and we have just been informed. Though we're not a part of the party, I don't want to be a part of the party, but what the Most High has done is He's had them reveal this so that we are able to prepare ourselves spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. All right? With that being said, I love you all. I pray you have a blessed rest of your day. For those in Babylon, pray you have a blessed evening. And those in the Western Hemisphere have a blessed evening. Those in the Eastern Hemisphere have a blessed, wonderful day and morning. Love you all. Shalom.